Hi, how are you?
I'm good.
My name is Barb Wilson. I'm a clinical case manager here at the University Resource Center. My pronouns are she and her. How would you like me to refer to you?
My name is Katie Carsten, and my pronouns are also she and her, and you can just call me Katie.
Great. Katie, what brings you in today?
Well, my psychiatrist, Dr. Thompson, he recently diagnosed me with bipolar disorder, and this is all new to me, and he told me that getting help with like resources and family stuff, like he encouraged me to kind of come in and talk to somebody about things that you guys might be able to help me with. So again, this is all really new to me.
So, a new diagnosis and navigating the mental health system, that can be pretty overwhelming. I'm glad you're here. I think that we can work well together.
Thank you.
I reviewed your intake form. It also mentioned that you would like some help with medication management, with coping skills, and then working on some family relationship issues. Is that still accurate?
Yes, ma'am. My family has always been like a really huge support system for me. And I've just put them through the ringer with the ups and the downs and the not taking my medication and kind of having excuses and, not doing what I'm supposed to do. So I feel like getting on track and like focusing on those things are something that I really need to put forth effort on. So,
Well, it sounds like even though this is all very new to you, that you have a lot of self-awareness, and also it sounds to me like your family and your family relationships are very important to you. Is that a fair statement?
yes, ma'am.
Wonderful. So the purpose of our visit today is to obviously introduce ourselves to one another, but it's also important for me to introduce you to the policies and procedures of our agency, since we're going to be working together. And unfortunately, during the first visit, I don't have an opportunity to ask you a lot of questions and really delve into your life. However, we have subsequent visits that we're going to spend a lot of time doing that. And today, I'd like to cover some informed consent items with you, if that's okay.
Okay, that sounds great.
Wonderful. Sometimes people come into a social worker's office if they've maybe never worked with a social worker or had a different type of relationship with a helping professional, and they expect that the social worker will have all the answers and is here to give advice. But really, we've learned long ago that you are the best professional about your own life. You're the life expert about your life, and we will hopefully discover together what your goals are, what you want your life to look like, and partner together to move you towards those goals. How does that sound?
That sounds great.
Wonderful. Your role is more important than my role in this professional relationship, as I need you to be open and honest and to feel like you can share information so that we can find the appropriate services and resources for you.
Okay,
How does that sound to you?
sounds great.
Wonderful. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is confidentiality. I know a lot of times people worry about what's said in the office, leaving the office, and I want to assure you that what happens here between you and I and is said between you and I stays here in the office, other than a few exceptions. And I want to give you an example of each of those exceptions so that you know ahead of time.
Okay,
Okay. Okay. The first time that that might happen would be if I am working to advocate for you or set up services. I might have you sign a waiver. You obviously would be able to read the waiver before you sign it. It might be for me to talk to your psychiatrist, or maybe to set you up for housing, to apply for disability, to receive food vouchers. Anytime that you would like me to talk to another professional on your behalf or another individual on your behalf.
okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, the second time that this might happen would be if a judge sends me a subpoena. I'm subpoenaed to testify in court regarding your case. Now, we would always know this ahead of time. This is something that we would discuss. And usually those subpoenas are pretty specific, and you would know what information that they are looking for. So you would not be surprised by that either.
Okay,
Okay. The third time that you might say that there's an exception to confidentiality would be in my discussions with my own supervisor. We staff regularly and discuss our clients to assure that they're getting the best care. Sometimes two heads are better than one. Sometimes things can get overlooked. And we have found that through staffing things professionally with our supervisors, that sometimes there are services we haven't thought of or interventions that we haven't thought of. And that's usually done on a weekly basis. Of
Okay,
course, my
so-
supervisor doesn't share your information either. That's just between us. But I do want to let you know that those discussions will take place.
That's exactly what I was going to ask. So thank you for for letting me know. I was like, okay, I just don't want my business to be out there. Good
Absolutely.
deal. Okay.
There are
so
two
she's
other
bas-
exceptions to confidentiality.
Uh-huh.
The first of those is if you were to have an intent to harm yourself or others. If you tell me that you plan to harm yourself or that you plan to harm someone else, I have to report that to the officials, both morally and ethically. We care here about everyone's safety and everyone's well-being. So obviously I would need to report that. I would notify you and remind you of my need to do that. You could even be present when that notification is made. I just want to remind you of that.
Okay.
And the last exception that we're going to discuss today is if you were to make me aware of and disclose to me any abuse or neglect of a child, an elderly person, or another vulnerable population, such as a disabled individual, whether it was something you have direct knowledge of or secondhand knowledge of, I would need to report that. If you're hearing things go on at the neighbor's house that you know are abusive, we would need to report that. If you tell me that you yourself have harmed a child or an elderly person, I also am bound to report that. Again, I would never blindside you with that. I will always let you know if something has occurred that I need to report. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Wonderful. Just a couple more things that we need to cover. First is cancellation policy. Our agency is very busy. We have a long waiting list. We understand absolutely, especially if you have children, if you're working, we understand that emergencies happen. Anytime that it is possible, if at all possible, we like at least a 24-hour notice if you need to cancel or reschedule.
Okay.
Is that something that you can agree to?
Yes, ma'am. I have children, so as long as we can kind of work around their schedule to schedule my appointments, I should be just fine to make it on time.
Absolutely. And we, like I said, we understand that emergencies happen, cars break down, children get sick and need to be picked up from school. When you leave here today, you'll have all of our contact information and you'll know the procedure to call if you do need to cancel or reschedule.
Good deal. I appreciate that.
Okay. The last item of business is regarding fees. Fortunately, at the University Resource Center, we are covered by a grant, so there is no out-of-pocket cost to you as a consumer. I think people are usually pretty happy about that fact.
I am ecstatic about that fact because we are on a tight budget and any little bit helps, and being able to get, some resources started makes me feel way better. And then also it's so much, it's good for my family too. So I'm very excited about that part.
Absolutely. We are always very forthcoming. If any of these policies or procedures would change, you would be notified and we will have an open discussion about it. And if you can think of any other questions, write them down and bring them in next time. Do you have any other questions now?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay, well, we will schedule our next visit and we will get to work next time.
Okay, that sounds great. It was nice meeting you.
Thank you. You as well.